stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
There we go. And there we go. What's up, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to episode 196 of the RGT podcast. We're missing two panel members. One is actually celebrating holiday, and the other will be here shortly, and that's Blaze 4K. Shout out to Hunter. Happy Canada Day to him and his wife and everybody over there celebrating it. Today's episode, man, is really special. We have ourselves an awesome special guest today. Not only is he celebrating his anniversary within the industry, this awesome dude has worked with PlayStation. He's been in the industry for quite some time and has worked on a lot of awesome games, and he's here to share with us his story and everything of that nature. Guys, here's our special guest for this evening, the one and only John Draisey. How are you, sir?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming through. Glad to talk to you finally.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So, John, how we usually do this, man, we like to get to know, the people behind the games. You know what I mean? We like to really highlight them and what got them in the industry first before we get into everything else. So, of course, you already know, I got to ask, John, what got you into the industry?
Let's see. Work-wise, it was just because I played so many games. Like I almost flunked out of college playing Halo 2 specifically. I was getting real good at Halo, man. Like top 5% in my college LAN, and then I got told I'll probably get kicked out soon if I didn't like shape up and get at least a 2.0, and I was like, oh, all right, sure, all right, I'll finish college and then I'll go back to gaming. And recently I just figured, you know what, after like a small stint doing a like little mobile game for Kindle Fire with my college buddy about 10 years ago, I said, you know what, I think I've gotten pretty good at 3D animation. I'll try it out one more time. And I'd say the lingo, I had it down. So when I talk to a programmer, I know how to request features, not just, all right, can the car boost through the level? Like, I don't ask that. I ask him, okay, how do we control the camera? How do we have the camera control linked to the button and have the button affect the handling? So let's have a handling multiplier. So it's like three little like subsystems that come together to make boost. And luckily, I have somewhat figured that out and done a decent job. And that's how Motorcubs came to be. But I mean, in terms of like playing games, Sega Saturn. It all started with Sega Saturn, man.
Saturn?
Did you guys play it?
No, yeah.
Oh my God. Saturn. It was like $400. I had asked my mom for 4 months to save up for this system. She got it. She loved me. And I got like 3 games for free with it, which I didn't find suspicious at all. Played through those. And then I find out a couple months later in like GameSpot magazine or something, it's canceled. It's done.
Yeah.
I've been telling all my friends I'd be getting it. Now they're laughing at me. They're like, dude, you didn't know it was getting canceled? I was like, why did you tell me? Come on. They're all on like N64 and PlayStation. So I ended up selling it back to GameStop for pennies. Convinced my mom, let's get a PlayStation instead, and it gets worse. She got the wrong PlayStation, the one without DualShock, which I didn't know was a thing yet because my friend had DualShock. Yeah. Uh-huh. So we had to return it, get the DualShock version. Dude, it was hell. I'm like, should I even play games? Me as a 10-year-old, should I be doing this as a career?
Wow.
But I got Spyro, and it was incredible. Just all the traversal. You could fly, you could flame, all the hidden nooks and crannies. I mean, that was brilliant, man. Just opened up my mind.
Yeah, it's great. You brought up Spyro. I bring up Crash Bandicoot as the one that sold me on PlayStation back in the day.
Yeah, that was cool too.
Running from the little boulder coming at you in 3D. It felt all 3D as for it. So a lot of you has their own different takes from that particular experience. But yeah, that's awesome, man. Okay. So what would you say was your favorite part about jumping into the industry or making it in the industry, would I say?
I would say it's just understanding where developers come from and realizing how difficult it is to make a bad game. Like, I would say like a 2.0 game could still be backbreaking and make you just say, I don't want to do this anymore. So like, I used to think like, what are you guys doing with your time? Like, where's the patch? When's it coming out? Now I'm like, you should triple check this on every platform and every version of that platform, and then maybe submit it later. Like, I'm not in a rush because I've seen some broken patches. Remember when Vanguard went down? Like
Yeah.
Call of Duty Vanguard
Oh,
for no
yeah.
reason? Like,
Yeah.
and even that, I'm sure went through multiple checks and passed.
Yeah.
Shit happens. It's a tough thing to make games. You're not making games, you're really making applications
Yeah.
like
That front money,
Photoshop.
basically. Yeah.
But you're making a new Photoshop with a new code base every time. That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because I had this talk with Rachel. She was one of our last interviews. She's a VFX artist. She works for Activision Blizzard now. We
Okay.
talked about how games in general have just become more like, it feels like cash grabs than anything because the way they're just like, the way they're programmed and set to go with
Yeah.
the attention of you spending money more so as opposed to you just earning the things that you get.
Right.
So yeah.
Oh, that's a big thing for me. Yeah.
Yes.
So what did she say about it?
She's not with it. That she wasn't with it, and
Good.
I said it too. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm all for developers getting supported. I'm all for everything in that nature. But the last thing I want to see is the gamers get exploited. That makes sense. Like, for example, you put in a gun that can only be achieved for you, forking up the cash, and this gun destroys every other gun on the base game. You know what I mean? That kind of just creates a toxic environment because then you're gonna have people do extra stuff. You know what I mean? Just to get this.
And not just that, like a game that's heavily criticized, like Diablo Immortal, in terms of like all the microtransactions within that game, and how it's like counter like productive in terms of like being a gamer. But like you're starting to see like the industry kind of like leaning towards mobile gaming because that's in of itself different, which is very interesting because of like you'll see like PC gamers for Diablo Immortal just like criticizing the game, but the app for it, like the Apple Store or Google Play, like crazy good ratings for it. There's just two different audiences.
Yeah, and mobile gamers are very forgiving of microtransactions. I do think it's kind of weird that like now, like Call of Duty, it's technically a free-to-play game. Yeah, you pay like $70 up front, but you open it up and you swear you're on an iPhone. The way that it just flashes every new skin at you, and every time you buy one, it's replaced.
Like
It's
Assassin's
like
Creed lately. You notice that? Like, you don't even have to go and traverse the world to get the resource. You can just literally buy it by swiping right and just go to resources and just buy whatever is needed to craft whatever it be, whether it be a legendary item, a piece of clothing, something like that. You can just make it that way. So it's wild.
I know, and I'm like, all right, so now that I'm trying to like make a business, should I do microtransactions if that means I can pay people or pay them fairly even, because like right now we're all doing this for free. So I'm like, ooh, that is tempting. I could do 50 different colors of like one vehicle and just say, oh, it's like $1, it's $2, it's $5.
I think it just depends on the style of the game, like a multiplayer game, like for example, let's say Rocket League, that game just screams customization, you know what I mean? So people want to buy into that type of stuff, whether it be those crazy camos or different vehicles, that makes sense. But if it's something like a third-person action game, let's say Uncharted, for example, imagine Sony asking for $50 to play as Sully and everybody else in the game. You know what I mean? That'd just be weird. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's weird. It's weird. That's a weird thing. So that's where I'm at with the whole thing. I'm not with it, but I get it. I get the practice, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you don't do it, you might be broke and out of business. If you do it, then you're just as bad as everyone else with, hey, do you want to spend $100,000 on Diablo Immortal?
Yeah, so it's like, it's weird because
so you
it's
say
like,
there's no common ground, you don't think, for it, really? You don't fall on no common ground? Like,
I mean, personally, I would just do like the classic. I like how it was in the PlayStation 3 days when you had map packs and just here's new maps. It costs us money to make, so we do charge for it, but there's unlockable things in there. It is an extension of the core game. I'm cool with extensions.
Yeah. Right.
Expansion packs.
I agree. That was actually something I missed from the PS3 gen. Nothing really felt like it was forced. You know what I mean? It just felt like it was an
Right.
exclusion, like, or it was a different addition towards the game versus like something that was needed. You know what I mean? Because nowadays DLC feels like it's needed, if that makes sense, or the way how
It does.
important they make it with with events involved and whatnot. It's they found a way to make it more bigger than what it was. That makes sense.
I know, especially I'm going to talk about like Call of Duty a lot because I play that 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that when I buy something new from the store, like a new weapon that normally you would unlock for like impossible tasks, you play it and suddenly the games are easier. And I'm a 2.0 KD kind of guy. Not great, not bad. Whenever I buy a new gun, I'm suddenly a 3.0 guy. Like the matches are easier that day. I'm like, wait. I didn't get better because of this gun. This gun has the same stats as everything else. Everything is like a 0.2 second kill rate. Like nothing's different. They're just feeding me easier matches so that I keep buying these weapons to keep getting easier matches. It's like, oh my god, where have we gone?
It's crazy because they never gave you dedicated service, true dedicated service in the midst of all that. Imagine that.
It costs money. They won't do it if it costs money.
That's what kills me.
But the thing is, Activision Blizzard makes so much money. They're definitely able to have, their own servers and not like person to person. It just doesn't make sense peer to peer. So it's just like, and they even have their own servers for like WoW and stuff. So it's like, like they can definitely do it. They want to cut corners. It was just weird because like when I think you're a smaller studio, it makes sense in terms of like, oh, you have to cut back in terms of like some of the stuff you're not able to do. But when you're a multi-billion-dollar like publisher, like I don't think there's any excuse.
No, and they already have servers for their game development, so it's not like nobody doesn't know how to do it at the company. They choose not to, and I don't know. I like the idea of at least investing a little bit in your customers, especially if you have that many like different IPs that all like collect together on Battle.net. What is Battle.net then? If you're not making dedicated services and giving like the best gaming experience possible, like even if you're exploiting people, you should at least pat them on the back.
Exactly.
Give them a nice cream, something.
To spend more if the servers were actually reliable. And they can actually get consistent good games. Imagine that.
Yeah.
I would
if
pay
it never broke.
If it never was a broken game and I'm shooting somebody first and I die first, I think I would still be buying this game and paying into this game more so than ever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's short-sighted.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And I think that's why, the franchise kind of just fell, I mean, now it's starting to get the ground. It's starting to get its feet back a little bit. Little by little. Modern Warfare 2 looked amazing. I know you've seen the trailer for that. It looked amazing. Like the new water effects and everything. It looked good. But I guess you have to ask yourself in the back of your head, like, how long can they push that whole, let's remake this version? You know what I mean? How long can you do that? Because, we're not going to see remakes of World War II or World at War. We're not going to see remakes of, what I mean? We're not going to see those. Those games are too violent for the days. We're not going to see those. Yeah.
And like the level design has gotten really wonky. I don't know if you guys have ever interviewed a Call of Duty level designer. That would be amazing. But I have a theory about it until that happens. And it's that the levels, they're not meant to be competitive anymore. They're meant to be chaotic. And so I just don't enjoy them.
Yeah. They're like beforehand, there used to be strategic paths you can take, and you just have to know them and memorize them and to be good at it. Map knowledge was number one thing you had to learn in Call of Duty back then. And once you did that, you pretty much did good. Now it's at that point where it's like it doesn't matter what you know. The spawns could be everywhere. You can push too hard, and they'll spawn behind you, and then it's chaotic.
I gotta tell you. Do you guys watch the Call of Duty League? Something crazy happened 2 majors ago. It was Optic versus Toronto Ultra, and there's like 10 seconds left. Just a few more points before the hard point finishes, and Optic is spawning on the right side of Gavutu. Cool. Player spawns there. He's like, okay, we're spawning on right. They should be coming from left. And they get shot from behind at their spawn point because Toronto spawned with them right behind him, shot him in the back, took over, and they lost it like, 10 grand.
Wow.
Right there. And I was like,
that's bad.
That's bad. And it was designed like that on purpose. That's what blows my mind.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know what it was though, because remember how like back then a lot of people would complain constantly, "Oh, this game is too try hard. This game is too. It's not easy for us to play." But I'm like, that was the point of multiplayer. It's competitive multiplayer.
Yeah.
What they should have had was a ranked. You know what I mean, like a ranked version of it. That way you separate them. Like remember how like Black Ops, I think
Yeah.
2 introduced that the league. You know, I'm talking about the league system they were doing. If
Mm-hmm.
that was a standard in there, I think that would have made up for a lot of that. But they never, they never did anything with it.
They never did. Yeah, their focus is microtransactions, not necessarily
Yeah,
making people better at the game and then fueling the esports, which I think they should. They should do
Yeah.
better with that.
absolutely, I agree. Oh, look who's here, Blaze 4K. What's up, Blaze? John,
What's
up?
Blaze me, John. How you doing?
So
What's up, man? Nice to meet you. There's this guy at National Grid over here, like I'll try to save your money. I'm like, buddy, I got a podcast. Like, you don't have to make up an excuse. I'm like, go live, Big Cloud Gaming, go right now. You'll see me. He's like, I don't see you. I'm like, oh. I'm not in the show yet, but just trust me. Go in 5 minutes, you're gonna see me on camera. So if you're watching, National Grid guy, thank you for getting me late. Thank you. But nice to meet you, man.
me too.
All right. Now we were just talking about a few things, Blaze. Ironically, we went to Call of Duty. We're talking about the good and the bad of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But I guess John has his hopes up now for since Modern Warfare 2 has been shown. Yeah.
It's gonna be squad spawns. I know it's not gonna be that great.
You don't think it's gonna be that great? No.
No,
No hope at
I
all.
don't think so.
I
As long as they
think-
have classic maps. Yeah.
No.
Well,
hope
actually, I will
whatsoever.
say the maps in Modern Warfare were better than I thought once I played Vanguard. Then I realized, you know what? I've been too hard on them. Half the maps were actually pretty good. Especially like, what was it? Shoot House is amazing. The one in the forest with like the warehouse. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine. It's just the squad spawns I hate. That's all.
Understandable.
I think the campaign will be pretty good, like
Yeah.
just because of Modern Warfare 1. So like I think that's like the biggest highlight for a lot of people going into that game. Like we don't know like whether or not the multiplayer will be, good. It remains to
I
be
think
seen.
people forget how good the campaign was visually, story wise,
Yeah.
attention to detail. That's a real looker of a game, man. Like people forget how realistic it was at times. I can't believe I'm saying realistic with Call of Duty, but there was some moments in that game where you're like, wow,
Yeah.
this is definitely.
I
But
was like, this is Battlefield? Okay. Love it.
right,
Yeah.
they kind of swap places now, right? Battlefield's the one struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arma.
Sorry, 1 second here. All right. So, John, why don't you tell us what it's like to be a video game, director? What's it like being that?
Oh man. I would say it's a lot of
And,
just
well,
hanging around in the engine, tweaking values, turning things on and off, and testing out the gameplay. It's just, I would say I'm a glorified game tester. I am
Oh, okay.
basically just QA with the title because I ask people to send me 3D assets, or I work with the programmer actually on Discord, and we go over like what to do in the game, and I'll type out the script, we'll play test it, we'll find the bugs, and
You just
that is
fix
my
it.
job. Yeah,
Okay.
just play the game.
Okay. So you are pretty much the overhead beta tester, I guess you can say. Like you
Yeah,
check it out.
and I actually wonder if that's all a game director actually is. It's just coordinating with everyone, project managing and playing the hell out of the game, because you're supposed to know everything that's going on content wise, what's coming up in the pipeline, who's doing what, and what needs to be fixed. So that's it. And luckily the game Motorcubs is fun, so I don't mind it. It's actually pretty cool. Every time we get a new level up and running, I'm psyched.
Okay.
And then I find out where it breaks, and I'm like, oh no, I gotta write down some notes.
I know you
Yeah, see?
also have that you're a 3D art, like you're Houdini 3D artist as well.
Yeah.
Mind walking people what exactly is that in general too?
All right, okay. So if you've watched Avengers Infinity War,
Yeah.
or Endgame, I think it was
right.
Infinity War. Yeah, Endgame or Infinity War, Houdini is like what makes a lot of the magic effects possible in
like the
those
snap?
movies. Like when they have like lightning interacting with the lava and like the wizard's duel in Infinity War,
okay.
like that's a
Yeah.
full Houdini computer effects simulation. So it's a really good simulation program.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like the high end. If there's like Blender is at the bottom, and then there's like Maya 7.4D, and then Houdini is just, tip top. They don't buy a lot of licenses for that, but like I push to use Houdini at my current workplace because I work in construction and architecture. And since we were dealing with such big buildings and data sets, I told them we can't be working in Maya anymore. We need something that's like efficient input output system where a lot of objects are offline. I think like game engines are starting to be like that too. So it has been interesting seeing Unity and Unreal ask the company like, hey, can we like integrate, the Houdini into these engines? Like that'd be cool. And so you can use Houdini in Unity, which we're using. We're using the Unity engine, or you can use Houdini in Unreal, and that just helps game developers stay in the engine to work when they build the levels instead of going back and forth and round tripping. You know what it's like just going to the grocery market and back.
Yeah,
that's like the old days. Now you live in the grocery market. That's Houdini. Just
wow,
you live there. Yeah,
that's cool. How about the Arnold render as well?
Oh yeah, so that's used on high-end visual effects movies, and that's because it can handle the biggest scenes in the world, and it doesn't crash. It has like infinite complexity that it can handle. When you give it like a simple scene, like the room I'm in,
yeah,
it's slower than under renderers. Then you start jam-packing it with like clouds and fire and like hundreds of characters, and you're like, oh, it's like the same render time. Oh
wow.
Well, shit. Okay. So then you got time to jack up like how many ray bounces. Like we talk about ray tracing a lot nowadays in video games.
Yeah.
And so there is one thing. They're doing one ray bounce. So like from a light, that light ray is going to travel to one surface and maybe bounce to another surface, get that color, and that's it. Like maybe one or two bounces. In my industry, we'll do 20 bounces. And that's the only way to get realistic lighting. So even in video games now, I'm learning there's still a lot of baked lighting. Even if they say they have ray tracing, they're not going to use it for everything because that's psychotic.
Yeah.
You want to use it for very specific things. So I think it'll get better. Maybe PS6, it should be like
that's
really
how I
good.
figure. PS6, you'll have more of a mastery on it, so to speak, because the way they'll have the system done for it. Plus, I know you heard of Fidelity FX as the other thing that they're probably gonna really push for consoles heavy.
Is that the upscaling tech?
It's the upscaling tech that boosts performance. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So you're
using
using Unity. You're using Unity, right?
I'm using Unity and Fidelity FX. Yes.
So is there a reason why you guys went with Unity over Unreal? Or
Sure.
I know a lot of games usually, like the majority of games usually, they're running on Unity or Unreal. They're like the most, I would say the most accessible. I've heard people say that Unity's easy to work with over Unreal. I don't know, but I always hear different stories from people, so that's why I asked if there was some sort of a reason you went with Unity.
So it's because the first game that I worked on, it was in Unity. The programmers from UC Irvine, like they recommended it. They were being taught it, and so I was familiar. And when we built the prototype, it ran fast. I think that was it. It was just familiarity. And the other good thing about Unity is that it's light. It was pretty much designed for mobile from the get-go. And so I think that's why when you watch Unity advertisements, now they're really pushing like the high-end visual effects. Like, hey, you can make movies in Unity now. Whereas Unreal has always been good looking. Now Unity is kind of catching up. They've always been on the low end. And I like that because it meant if I have to port to Nintendo Switch, then it's not so bad.
Yeah, not so much.
You're saying light as in, it's not too hard on hardware.
Exactly. It's not too hard on hardware. If you watch like the developer interviews from the guys who engineer Unity, like when they were talking about, oh, I'll be right back. I got a big delivery. Sorry about that. You guys are going to have to vamp for 30 seconds.
You're good, man.
Bro. All right. So before he comes back, what's up, everybody? I see y'all in the chat. Appreciate y'all coming through. That like button. We're going to get into some other topics with John here, but first, wanted to get John's history, the whole 9 yards. of everything that's going on. Yo, Blaze, have you been seeing Twitter lately
Why?
involving God of War?
What happened?
A lot of developers getting harassed for God of War info.
I mean, dude, these.
Like you would think after a certain situation, dudes would not be doing this, but
Bro, first of
dude
all,
just-
these guys on Twitter gotta chill the fuck out.
I don't know what to say.
Like these
All day for that one.
developers, they're clearly they're clearly some sort of NDA. Like they're, like if they wanted to tell you guys if the game was coming out, they would tell you. Like y'all gotta leave developers alone.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to say, "Oh, how's the game going?" And if they decide to respond to you, cool. But if they don't respond to you, and you keep harassing. Listen. Everybody wants God of War to come out, but like, I don't understand like that. I just can't deal with people on Twitter, dude.
Yeah, we were
I don't
talking
get
about
it.
the developer situation. We just have to wait.
Oh yeah, but like Twitter, it's just like there's a lot of assholes on there, and you deal with like 500, but then you realize, well, there's millions of people on here who aren't responding. So
Yeah,
you do the math, and it's just like the real world. It's like 1% of people suck. On Twitter, they just have a platform where they can take over.
But it's more
conversations.
like 10%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a vocal minority, and like I'm pretty sure everyone agrees. Like harassment's awful and it shouldn't happen.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
I feel like also bringing it up, and I was like streaming and talking about it. Cold and Neb brought up the point when you talk, like you put it on Twitter, you're feeding the trolls. You're
Yeah.
feeding the trolls, and then that emboldens them to do it even further.
Yeah, because
And
now
you see
have
that
their
like
name.
early,
Yeah.
like YouTube, for instance. Like I was watching this kind of like documentary about Wings of Redemption,
Uh-huh.
and the dude at his beginning of his career, he's toxic, but he's also letting the trolls get to him.
Yeah.
And he keeps addressing it, and the comments get worse and worse and worse.
Mhm.
And when he keeps trying to address, and that's the point. It's like you're giving them a platform, you're feeding their ego in a way. And it's like if you don't, because I guarantee you, when they probably said that, more people probably kept doing it even further.
You know what's funny about that, Red Hood? If a lot of people get in situations where they say something stupid, everybody makes mistake. Where
Oh, yeah.
I've done something live on camera, and then I got pressed about it. If you just shut up and let it be,
Exactly.
after a week, I promise you, it'll disappear. But if
disappear
you
after a
react to it and you, like you said, you feed into it, it's gonna stick with you for the rest of your career. I'm telling you, just let it be and shut up about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like
It'll go
Elon
away.
Musk said. He's like, just wait
Right.
2 weeks. They'll forget.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's
It's
hard.
funny
when
'cause
Elon
we
Musk
play,
he likes to feed
We
everybody.
play Walkabout VR Golf, and that game is running in Unity. And I've realized a bunch of VR games run in Unity. Like
They do.
everything on my Quest is like maybe I have 11 games that are running on Unity.
Yeah.
So I wondered why that was such a thing.
Oh yeah. So like when you run a VR game, when we play at like say 60 FPS, that's a big deal. It can be hard on the hardware. With VR, it's got to run at least 90, optimally 120
20.
for each eye. So like now the graphics cards, modern graphics cards, they help with that when you have two cameras for the same scene, but
Yeah.
it's still hard. You're running like 150, 180 FPS. Like that's tough. So Unity, it's got like I'd say the most unrealistic shaders built into it. Like just low end stuff at its core. So it's perfect for VR.
Yeah, and VR, you're in that world, so it don't have to be. People always ask, "Oh, VR game." Like once you're in VR, you're in it. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It doesn't have to look. If you're in like a cartoonish world, like you're in that world. It don't matter. So
It doesn't matter at all. It's just immersion. Like, is it stable? Are you not getting motion sickness?
sick.
Awesome. That's all.
So like when you see like the advances in technology, with the PS5 and the Xbox, like how do you feel
Yeah.
looking at your position now and what we can do with these boxes? How do you
This is going to sound horrible, but I almost wish they didn't have so much power. I almost wish because
No, that's good. Because before, remember the PS4 developers are coming out saying, "Well, we kind of maxed them out after the speech." So, I mean, that's good. That's good. See,
That's interesting though. Get
that's
into
good.
that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
because like say if my game X is in a magazine and it's next to game Y, and game Y had a $50 million budget and I had a $5 million budget, clearly they're going to look like photorealistic. They got great animation and all that sculpted work. It just looks real. And then I have to be like, well, we had to do cartoony. I think as the consoles get more powerful, they keep hitting that ceiling of like, that is so realistic and so realistic. And for me, like, it's hard to compete with that. And of course.
Yeah, but there's a market. You fall in line in the indie or like, look, I played a bunch of cartoonish games. Like, there's a market for that. I don't see how you got to compete with the uber realistic. I see what you're saying though, absolutely, but there's definitely a market for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I was gonna say too, like think about it too. Like I feel like the indie games have driven a lot of innovation that a lot of
Big time.
bigger title games borrow from, like heavily, and all that.
Sure.
So it's like, because I'll be honest, a lot of AAA games don't really drive innovation like they used to back in the past. Now they've like in terms of mechanics and physics and all that.
Lazy.
It's becoming downgraded because I guess they're focusing in the hyper realistic graphics, but not the other details.
Right. And that's the problem right there. I rather like I bring this up all the time. I was playing I don't know what game it was, and you could interact with everything. You could shoot pots and pans, you could bump into stuff, it would all move, it all had its own physics, and it was like everything was alive. Anything you touched or shot or moved, it would move or break. Or like Crisis, the original. You shoot a piece of that, you shoot a tree at its core, and then it breaks off. You can shoot it again and again and again. Like, I rather have the physics in the animations. I think games look good to the point where focus on the animations. Like,
Yeah, the small stuff.
if you have an uber realistic world, like Resident Evil, Resident Evil 8, beautiful game, awesome game. Everything is glued to the ground. Everything. Everything looks so beautiful,
books,
but
the plants.
it's all
you
diamond.
can't interact.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Good
it's
point.
beautiful and it doesn't move. That's something that I'm trying to rectify, at least with our game, where I've been pushing the CPUs harder and harder, and so that's why I was worried about Switch as a platform, because we would have to pull a Gran Turismo PSP version, right, where it's like it's not 16 vehicles, it's 8 or 6 or 4, but we'll see. But right now we're trying to make sure, like, normally in a game like a racing game, when you play, nothing moves. You can just drive over anything, like Forza.
Yeah.
Just coast over the cactus. It's no big deal. Because we're RC, I was like, well, might be a good opportunity to push around the little rocks that we trip over when we go hiking. And so every single rock that's on the track right now, it moves. And they have, different weights. All 18 rocks, they have different weights that I've given them, and I stack them, and you can drive into them, and lap to lap, it's different. And it was completely by accident. Once we did this, and we play tested it, and we're like, Jesus, they're in different spots every lap. What the hell? And then it was like, oh, they're in different spots. That's cool. And so it kind of kept us on our toes. And I think games should do more physics. I don't know what happened back in PS3. They had such good physics, like Killzone. Man, they were like moving like that. It was crazy. And still to this day in COD, they just go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm blown
That's
away
why
with
people
all stuff.
appreciate the Naughty Dog and the rock stars, because they pay attention to those little finer. Their game looks beautiful on top of the physics. On top of the animation work. Right.
Yeah, it moves beautifully too. That's crazy.
Yeah, Horizon,
I appreciate it.
Forbidden West, or Forbidden Wild,
For you said it right.
Ditto as well. So it's, I don't know. I feel like we're getting that, but we're not getting as much of that. You know what I mean? Like games really.
Big Cloud, even Elden Ring, as repetitive as they've moved over assets, they borrow so. Like I said, there's assets from Dark Souls 1, sound effects from Dark Souls 2 and 1, still in Elden Ring. People don't realize that, but at least when you kill a guy, he drops to the ground. You kill another guy, the body's not going to go through the body. It's going to go over it like this. It's going to. It looks good. It looks really nice. Like, at least they pay attention to that kind of stuff. And I appreciate that stuff, man. I like, people making fun of me because I stop and stare at the rocks, and I love tessellation. I love all the bumps in the ground. I like that. That's what immerses me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, like when Halo, when you're looking at the rock fall down, when you threw like a grenade, it was coming down the hill, like all that stuff. Yeah, I do remember that. I don't know though.
Nice.
Halo is a big physics playground too. Yeah, way ahead of its time.
That's crazy though.
what consoles you got? I'm just curious. You got them all?
I have a no. I just have a Series S, and I've been borrowing my friend's PlayStation 5, and because he didn't have any games to play, so he's like, "Here, go ahead, Draisey, just have fun." And
You got a PC?
I don't game on PC, but
You
yeah,
work on it.
Yeah, it's a
I work.
workstation.
It's like work play. I don't want to play on it. That's already like too much.
That's understandable.
Yep.
Yeah. Plus, I don't play like strategy games. Like I don't play WoW or I don't play StarCraft. So I think that's probably why. So since everything's on console anyway, just keep it on Series S mostly. I have a PlayStation 3 that I turn on once in a while
I
for
do too, man.
research purposes.
There you go.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I know you're very excited for your new game that you're working on. Could you share some details on it? Like, what could we expect? For
All right, so it is an off-road racing game. It's RC cars. They're piloted by professional bear racers. It's kind of like a fantasy world. So what would happen if bears like just ran the world? Like how would they make RC cars? What kind of billboards would they put, around to advertise? What brands would they have? And so we're just making this nice little world, little bubble, small scale RC racer. We're going to have 12 tracks, 24 racing events. We've got a variety of vehicles, and the theme right now is like savage and cute. Like if Nintendo had to make a Mad Max game, what would they do? And so when you look at like
similar to Mod Nation Racers, maybe
I would say more savage.
more
Yeah.
savage. Okay.
Because we've got like teeth on the cars.
I got you.
They're a little dirty. And
It was actually a MotorStorm RC game. It was like a top-down view. You guys probably don't remember that, but
I play it still.
pretty cool
Yeah.
game actually.
I loved it. I wish they had an option, maybe with an update later on, to put the camera behind the car, because I feel like that's where it's really exciting.
Right.
So same concept. I look at what they did with like real world obstacles around the track and how to make that fun and interactive. And so it's pretty much the same thing. It's the shorter tracks. Like we're aiming for about 30 to 60 seconds a lap, so they're easy to learn the first time around. And we'll see what happens. But
I've been playing Wreckfest out of nowhere, and I think that's not a game that's like wow, visually it looks good enough, and like
that's
it's definitely fun. Like the destructibility and the
the first time I slid off the track, I was like, oh, that never happens. Games usually like hold your hand now, especially racing games, but not
Right.
Wreckfest.
yeah.
Oh wow,
That's
okay.
cool.
That's really cool. So with your game, is this going to be strictly PlayStation or is it more multi-plat?
It is multi-plat. So originally we were doing PC, and just to like get it to a wider audience, because when you only release on one, it's like
There's
like
that chance of it not hitting.
not hitting. So I ran a Kickstarter. I said, you know what? Let's just get extra money for features that we want programmed into the game, and money for the hardware, so we can like buy a Mac, build a Linux PC, and get it tested. So right now we are funded. We barely made the minimum funding for the Kickstarter, and so we have it on Mac. It's running on a Mac Mini M1. It's running on NVIDIA hardware for PC, and for the Linux PC, it's running on a Ryzen 6 core with an RX 570. So this game scales pretty well. We had to redo our art assets. Like during the Kickstarter, we realized, oh, this isn't running on a Mac at all. Like we got to go back, look at the poly counts, and I think we were a little too focused on like all this. So we actually took it back a notch on geometry count, and then went up on texture quality, and it worked out.
Okay. What was the inspiration?
You got to scale it back.
Yeah, he had to scale it back.
I'd scale it back. Even the vehicles are being remodeled right now, so that we can put it on Switch.
Yeah.
It's all about. I'm telling you, Switch is like the defining number. Like 80 million Switches out there.
Yeah,
I have to.
Yeah, I mean, like they support. Like I could say that for Switch. Like PS Vita was the same way, where both those systems like did well with like indie games in terms of like attaching, like the attachment rate for those types of games.
Exactly. That's it. That's what I want to get at. And if I have to cut back the number of interactive rocks, the number of vehicles, sure thing. I will not compromise on the feature set or the content itself, but we're just trying to be a little agile about it and think ahead. And we can always add more detail. Like, that's no biggie. But we will be releasing on PlayStation 5. We did just get authorized for that yesterday. So, yeah, PlayStation 5 is happening.
There you go.
It's separate, a separate port of it, or is it PS4 or PS5?
So PS5 only, because I really want to do. I want to take advantage of the SSD.
Yeah.
And just stick with that, because if we have to worry about load times from a spinning disk hard drive, that's a whole nother set of problems. You can get some like new bugs from that, even like one time.
You don't got to worry about that with the Switch either, you know. But
I mean, the Switch, it loads fast. It does flash memory. It's not as fast, but it is faster than a hard disk.
Yeah, but on PC, there's still. I know some guys that are using, they're not even using SSDs on PC. So that'll be interesting to see how that's going to work out on PC, because there's people with SSD, NVMe's, and traditional hard drives. So.
But like the PS4, it also doesn't have like the fastest like flash controller for the hard drive. That's we'll see. I do not develop for PS4 yet, so I can still say this. It worries me a bit, but after we release for PS5, I will totally hit them up for a dev kit and at least test it out and see what's possible, because honestly, it's more money for me. I'd be dumb not to port it back. I God of War Ragnarok. If they're doing it, I'm doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure you won't have no issues. It'd be more scalable than the Switch on a PS4.
Yeah, and the Linux PC was spec'd exactly like a PS4 for a reason.
There you go.
Hint.
Yeah, less problems for that one.
That's a big user base too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know you just mentioned the SSD for the PS5. A lot of people don't. A lot of developers that we talk to, it's like a lot of them don't mention that as more, because it becomes second nature. It's like, well, that's obvious. We're excited for it, but why are you so excited for the SSD? I broke down the PS5 in videos before. Like I said, the way the PS5 is designed, it can handle data faster than traditionally what you got right now on the market. It's one of the fastest systems, very accessible. Is that why you're super excited for it, or is it for other reasons why you're excited for SSDs and consoles?
I would say not as a developer I'm excited. It's more so as a player. I'm excited because it just removes that friction. Like back in the old like Game Boy days when you just loaded it up and you're playing. That's how it should be. So I'm glad that it's back to that speed.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration for your game? Like the biggest inspiration?
Legally, I cannot say it. But there was a PlayStation 3 game that was set in Monument Valley, and so I was actually playing. It was last summer. I just went on my PlayStation and I looked for anything that was like racing, because it had been a dry spell. There was no MotorStorm Remastered. There was no like Colin McRae that I could really play. Like Dirt 5 came out, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. I felt like I was missing that weightiness and that challenge, and I just thought like, well, shoot, maybe I should just like get a PlayStation 3 and play the old racing series. And I did. I fired it up and I realized, oh my god, this is like Dark Souls of racing. Like, you take the wrong side of a ramp off and you're done. You got to restart. And it kept me going.
John?
I don't know. Crazy. And so, that's exactly why. I was like, I don't want to copy it. I want to bring back a familiar setting and a familiar feel of challenge. So you're constantly learning the nuances of every track, every jump, and just surviving barely. Our AI is really savage. You're gonna hate it. I truly believe that you're gonna hate the AI in this game. They're just evil.
Also, you got them turned up all the way to the max. There's difficulty, would you say?
Yeah, yeah. So like we do a range of them. Some of them will actually follow the apexes of the track, and about half of them are there to destroy you.
Okay.
Yeah. So good luck getting first place. I have trouble getting first place, and I made the game. So.
Okay. So how long would you say we have to wait until launch, possibly, for this game, or maybe if like a demo at least for the game? If you're gonna drop one,
No demo. This ain't 1990. You ain't getting no demo.
We got demos now with PlayStation Premium. I'm just saying, you might wanna have to make one.
That's like a 2-hour trial. That's more of a trial than a demo.
It is a 2-hour trial essentially.
Well, we'll see. Like I made a demo for Xbox. That didn't go through so well. So I made a different demo for the Kickstarter that did go very well. And
you guys know a price point at least, or
yeah, it's going to be yep, it's going to be $40 when it releases.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence in it, and that's it. It's just going to be digital. We don't have a disc publisher agreement in there yet, but who knows if
Game
it sells
Pass
well.
day one or what? Game Pass day one.
If Microsoft dropped the bag, probably.
If Microsoft says yes to the game, sure, I'd love to, but they have not said yes to the game yet, so we're just hanging tight. Like we're making one more demo for I'd say like maybe September or October once all the programming is complete. And that way we can resubmit again to Microsoft because I guess they have like high standards, man. I've sent them 2 demos already and they haven't said yes yet. And they don't respond to why. They don't say why. That's what drives me up the wall. And they just say like, well, we appreciate you sending it. Please get back to us in a few months with a new demo. And I'm just like, but why? What's broke?
You think Xbox has high standards?
They must because they're
Game Pass.
Dude, I've been trying to get on Xbox for 6 months. I hit up Sony, and like 5 days later, they're like, "You're approved." So I don't know if it's maybe it might even be like a style thing, or the fact that here's the thing: Sony did not ask for a playable demo; they asked for demo footage. So that's the big question mark. When I sent it to Microsoft, this is back when we had like the really heavy assets.
Yeah.
So I'm 90% sure the guy who fired it up at Microsoft ID at Xbox was like, "Oh, this is like 5 frames per second. Can't recommend it." But because it ran 5 frames per second on our producer's computer when we finally tested it, and I went, "I've made a ghastly mistake." Yeah. But now it's 120 FPS on a 3090, and so I think we're in good hands. And I'll submit to Xbox in like 2 months once we're solid and we have basic stuff that was missing, like a save system, haptic feedback / rumble,
we haven't even gotten to all the cool stuff, the additional stuff like the haptics.
Come on, Xbox. What are they doing over it? It's like you need all the games you can get. Xbox.
You need everything.
What are we doing?
So does the game for PS5 gonna utilize like the haptic feedbacks, resistant triggers?
Yes, we're gonna have you drive with the triggers and just use the X button for boost, or the option of a L1 or R1 trigger if you want. It's very simple controls. We just have gas, reverse / brake, and boost, and that's it. So
simple.
Easy to pick up.
I like it. Yeah, I like that.
Simple.
Yeah,
I miss those days.
Sounds like Rocket League in a sense. You just boost at like the little boost pads and you go and hit the ball or something like similar.
Yeah. And something that we want to do, this is on the programming list for August. So in August, we're going to have not just boost, but boost cooldown, so that when you drive through the mud zones, it cools your car down based off of your weight class, because there's 4 weight classes. There's small, medium, large, and Titan. And of course, the large and the Titans, they love mud. They actually handle better in mud. They drive faster in mud.
So
we're adding.
If you want to use like a super fast car,
it sounds like MotorStorm a lot.
Yeah,
what?
It's got a lot in store. Motorstorm.
Word?
Wow. Like that. Yeah.
I like that. I'm
Like,
a
you
big
couldn't-
Motorstorm guy.
Yeah,
I like
me
Remember
it.
too.
that Blaze, you couldn't
Me
use
too.
the dirt bike on every single map and think you was gonna win. Nah, you had to mix it up with something else.
Yeah, you gotta mix it up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Okay.
like a concentration of those concepts. Like it's not 8 vehicle classes, it's 4, so it's a little simplified. And yeah, there's that challenge of do I go in the mud and risk it, or do I drive on the dry surface and the obstacles are moved over into the mud? So am I the right weight class to plow through that, or it's just not happening?
Why don't you send me one of those preview builds, my good friend?
Yeah, we'll take one. We'll definitely
Hey, no,
take
I'll
3
definitely
weeks.
listen. Hey,
Okay.
I'll definitely look into it. Look, I love racers, so I'll definitely, I'll buy it, bro. I'll support it for sure.
one. Absolutely. Come here.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, I'll send you a
Dude.
demo. Why not? Why not? Fuck it. Why
Dude.
not?
You guys go.
I love. It sounds like a. Like I like that Motorstorm, the risk reward of overheating and hitting the water.
Yep.
Do you want to go to the left and get the
Yeah.
water spray, or I like that. I like
Yeah,
the risk
taking
reward.
jumps. Yeah.
Taking
And,
jumps. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to like hide the jumps a little bit here and there. Let me see what else is going
Is
on.
there
with it.
destruction in the game?
There is currently no destruction.
No destruction.
It is made of diamond,
Oh,
but
okay.
everything moves. There's just no like wood destruction or like foliage destruction
Yeah,
yet. The foliage does move when you run through it, but
It doesn't really shatter or break. Yeah.
not yet. And I don't know if we have to at the moment, because like philosophically, if we have things break apart, the player's going to start looking for things that break apart, and they might mistrust something that maybe we intended to be solid that they think should break, and they might be right. And so, just because we're a small team, I don't want to risk that yet.
Ah, okay. So they're making shortcuts, basically. You want to...
Yeah. So right now, they can trust that when they drive through a bush, it's going to move out of their way.
Right.
When they drive into a cactus, that's an instant kill. They're destroyed. You can't do that. It just messes up your car. And if they run into a rock, well, if it's like a boulder or a pebble, it's going to move every single time. And if it's a rock wall, that ain't moving.
You're dead.
Yeah, you can bounce off of it. You can survive. And there's actually a couple of like random shortcuts that we figured out in the latest level. And so we'll see if you guys find I'd say one shortcut. If you guys find one shortcut in there, you're solid. It's only happened to me once because I bounced off another car and made that cut. But that's
Is there a
kind of how it
radar
is.
showing the road or no map?
Nope,
No.
there is none of that. I actually don't understand why racing games have that, because then you're
never
very
gonna
reliant.
look down, right? You're not gonna. You want to keep your eyes on the road in front of you instead of to the right
Yeah.
or left.
And so, like, this is not me name dropping, but Dave Jaffe, he played the game. When he played it on stream, it was a disaster because it was not compatible with streaming on his computer, and the specs are too high. It's that whole thing.
Oh, yeah,
But when he
yeah.
played it offline, he told me the camera was wrong, and I was like, "How so?" And he explained, "I can't see the curves of the track coming up." And I thought about that, and I was like, "Okay, so do you want me to move it like a little further back?" He's like, "Try
Yeah.
that." And so I kept sending him builds. I sent him a couple of builds that afternoon, just kind of like, well, he's got so much experience. Let's try it out. And once I followed his rules, his instructions, it was easier to race. I could actually see everything, but it still felt engaging. And so that's the camera angle in the game. It's the Dave Jaffe recommended camera angle so that we don't need the overhead like HUD track coming
Wait,
up.
so he streamed this?
Yeah, he streamed it.
How long ago?
It was Memorial Day weekend, and I'm telling you, it ran like ass on the stream, and like my producer was crying, and everyone was just like, "Oh shit!" But he
What
actually
does he
told
have?
them-
He played on PC or PC?
Yeah, he played on PC, and I didn't have VSync on, and something went really wrong with how it was captured on stream. He told everyone, "Oh, it's running like 20, 25 FPS for me," and everyone's like, "It looks like 5," and I told him it looks like 5 to me too.
What's his GPU? I wonder.
Yeah, he probably wasn't rocking on crazy over the top.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know his hardware specs.
probably-
Dude, I got a
so-
3090, baby. Just send it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I trust you.
3070. So yeah.
Oh my, dude, you don't play games on PC stuff.
Hey,
Hey, you're a console
Strike
peasant,
two.
Big Cloud.
Strike
You're
two.
not a, you know. I gotta look up this game. Let me see.
Sure. Motorcubs RC.
Motor.
I think I have a recording of it too.
Let me see.
Do I have it on my private link?
We'll put on this stream for everybody.
I think I saved it. Let's see.
Motorcubs.
Your channel. Videos. I mean, man, she was telling me too, like, just delete it. And I said, no, this is a lesson we need to learn. Which is look out for low spec. Oh, you found it. Good.
Yeah,
bro, this looks like dude, all right.
Here it is, y'all.
Yeah, you need to send me this. Send me this.
John Draisey?
This looks like Motorstorm.
Yeah, the way he described it sounded like Motorstorm.
No, it literally is Motorstorm, bro.
Here it is, guys. Motorcubs.
I missed it. Yeah, Motorcubs RC. I'm bringing the dream back. I wanted to play it, so now you're gonna play it too.
That looks wild.
It looks good though. Looks
yeah,
really
with the
good.
rock physics.
Thank you.
And how big's your actual team that's working on this?
It's like 4 people.
4 people? Okay.
Yeah, it's just people that I trust that are close friends, and a programmer who's working via contract, step by step, and just getting whatever we can within budget. And I got to tell you, like, he's really good. I've met a couple programmers. He's funny. He thinks about problems before they happen, and I just I try to listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did it take you guys to, I guess, get to here, where we are with the game? Like
12 months.
12 months.
This is the 1-year anniversary of when we sat down, and I said, "Do you want to make this with me?" And it was just like, yes, absolutely. And we just got down and dirty and said, let's try this out, because our day jobs, we're not really getting bumps in salaries or anything. It was just kind of stagnant. And my proposal was, well, we're trying to get into game industry jobs, and they always say, how many games have you shipped? What games have you shipped? Yeah. That's like a constant requirement. And I was like, screw this, I'm gonna make my own game, and then I can say I shipped it. I'm just gonna play the system, and give ourselves maybe a little pay raise, maybe build a studio out of it. Actually, that is my goal, is to have a studio where we bring back nostalgic kind of games, things that we missed from certain eras, like PS1, PS2, PS3, and 64, and think about what made that special, and just capture that. It doesn't have to be the best looking game. It just has to be the best playing game that brings back those feelings, or that frustration or sadness or happiness, whatever it was in that game. Let's do that. We have a couple titles planned.
You have a couple? Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So are they all racers, or?
So
it's like a mix.
Dude, I asked the team, what do you want to make, and what do you want to make? And because I Horizon Zero Dawn, that came out of asking the team at Guerrilla, what kind of game do you guys want to make? Yeah, and so I'm like, well, that makes sense, because if you like what you're doing, subject matter wise, you're gonna do better, and proof's in the pudding. So what they want to make is not in any particular order. Someone wants to tackle Front Mission / Final Fantasy Tactics. So that's the next one on our list, is something that is a bit like Front Mission, and the idea is you need to have soldiers and the mechs on the same battlefield, and have them share that and make that interactive. That I believe that it wasn't interactive before just because it was too difficult, but now that we have crazy ass physics, I'm like, well, what does that look like when you have mechs that can create new paths that were not designed by the map designer? Okay. So that's something I want to look into. And verticality, thinking about the weight of the mech, and if buildings A, B, or C can actually take your weight to get to a certain waypoint, things like that. Really think about traversal in a cool way. So that's the RPG, and I'll just say it here first. So I can't say the name. I don't have the trademark yet. But yeah, okay. So Project CT.
There you go.
That's being thought up by our composer, Evan. He does all the rock music for Motorcubs. And so he's been thinking of that game for 5 years. we've been talking about it. We were actually supposed to make Project CT first, but I told him we don't have the staff or the experience or the script. Like he has a story laid out, he just doesn't have the script laid out. And so I told him RPGs are like the hardest thing to make, so let's do that like second or third. So he's doing it on the side in between Motorcubs music, and I love his music. He's really good at music, but his RPG idea is really cool. You guys are gonna love that. The other game idea, it is a racing game where you can race, but it's not about that. It's kind of like, Drive to Survive is about the organizations and how they deal with the FIA and cheating or gray area cheating. So it's going to be a racing game about cheating to win and flirting the rules, production of your vehicles, the whole thing.
Okay,
That
so
was
your
the
car
idea.
might have NOS and those cars might not, or you might bribe
Or-
somebody for something.
I would say like your car has a flexible rear wing when you do DRS, and competitors have noticed, but it's not in the rule book. And who do you have to pay off to make sure it doesn't get looked at for a few weeks?
Okay.
Things like that.
Okay. Oh, that's
So you have the pool. Yeah, relationships. So it would be a racing game about relationships and production.
So kind of like Blitz the League. I don't know if you ever played that game. Did you ever play that game
didn't.
before? No. But Blitz the League, they had like basically it's a football game. Dudes trying to get into the actual NFL, but they in the game they're using drugs, like and performance enhancing drugs, steroids and whatnot in the actual game. And like as you go throughout the game, you get higher in drugs and whatnot. And you can use that to make your character either faster, more durable, or super, easy to catch.
Yeah, they pulled that from the stores long ago when the cancel culture came. I actually own that game. It's actually worth like $100 right now.
Is it really?
Sounds too realistic. I want it.
Yeah, I got that game actually on 360, not on PS3.
Okay, on 360. Jeez,
Ah.
anyone that owns one. Might have to get a 360 now.
There you go.
Grand.
So John,
It's on PS3. You just gotta buy the disc.
Then I'll look it up in my local store.
Yeah.
They might have it.
All
Thanks.
right, John. Let me ask you, what would be your dream project to work on if you had like just the perfect game that you had the team to make, and let's say AAA budget game? What would be your dream project?
Could be any
that you
IP.
make? Could be any IP
as well.
Dude.
Could be a new
Warhawk.
IP or license.
You said,
Oh my god. If Sony hired us for Warhawk,
Ooh.
I would make the shit out of that game.
No, stop right there.
Yeah.
Please, you're a
Okay.
game developer. Do me a favor.
What?
Make me SOCOM.
So I want SOCOM so bad.
Is this a challenge? That's right. I totally forgot about SOCOM.
I will fund you, bro. How much? I'll fund you weekly.
Fund you.
How do you spell that? Is that an S?
SO. Yeah. SOCOM. SOCOM. Look it up. PlayStation's been neglecting their fan base
Dude.
for a decade, and we're waiting for the remake. We keep hearing rumors. But shit, you make me a third-person tactical shooter, I will literally fund your whole crew.
Might be the second game that we make. Yeah, I do miss
Yeah.
SOCOM. Dude, after Insurrection, that was it. I don't know what happened. Or 4. Like, they had 4, but
4.
that doesn't count. Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Confrontation.
boy. Confrontation, that's what it was. Yeah, I remember my buddy Richard, he played the hell out of that game. Oh, man. SOCOM,
Right, yeah,
dude.
see?
What did you like about SOCOM the most?
First of all, that game was ahead of its time. Dedicated servers, ranking system, had a in-game mic system. So every SOCOM came with a mic, unless it was SOCOM 4. That came with the little shooter,
Yeah,
the little
that's right.
the little light gun.
I totally
But
remember
yeah,
that.
it was such a there. So I'm playing. You can play SOCOM right now on PC emulator or with a PS2. Some guy brought the servers back, and it's actual. Like I play it every night actually. SOCOM 2 online on the PS2. But it was just a team based 8-on-8. Not a lot of play. It was just 8-on-8 small maps that you just mastered, and it was just ahead of its time. It was just it was just the best shooter in my opinion. But
I will seriously consider that because, I mean, small team, 4v4, just have to solve online multiplayer technically. and Unity helps with that. Like they have their own online servers, so I'm aware of it. I'll have to ask Jason about it after this is done. But that actually would be cool if I bring it up with our environment artist, who I know has played SOCOM. I absolutely know it. He might switch gears and be like, yeah, let's do that next. While that RPG is being developed, because RPG is like a lot of systems, a lot of programming.
It's tough.
This is, I would say, moderate. It's doable. Yeah. Okay, we got to talk about how Sony is sitting on the biggest treasure chest of IPs I've ever seen, and nothing has been really remade.
Resistance, John. Resistance.
Yeah, Resistance, SOCOM.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't own Crash. Killzone. MotorStorm. Sly Cooper. Today, the news about Sly and Infamous. There's no Sly, no Infamous.
Jack and
Talk
Daxter.
about.
Dude, my thing is they could have remastered the 1 and 2. I just don't understand why they don't do that. Because it's stuck on the PS3.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
They gotta figure this PS3 thing out. Like, Sony, I don't want to sound like a broken record. I don't want to stream these games. Let me, if dudes on PC are figuring it out with emulation and Xbox is figuring it out and upscaling, Xbox, like seriously, like they're upscaling their 360 games, their Xbox original game, they're upscaling them and making them run better at the same time. Now, maybe, we understand that Xbox didn't have a lot going on, and so they jumped into that bag and said, you know what, until we get our developers going and stuff like that, we're gonna take care of this back compatibility. But I just think that if they're not gonna do that, at least go back into the goodie bag. Give us Resistance. People are dying for that game. Killzone, please. Like, I'm just saying, man. Killzone 2 is a classic.
I kind of worry that maybe those like projects haven't been, or at least like the project backups don't exist, or worse, that they've never been asked to be copied over to like Sony corporate. I mean, maybe they have like a different philosophy right now. Like they have been pushing single player games a lot and like new IPs and like big cinematic experiences, but I gotta say they should have a retro department that is only like resurrecting this IP, putting out bids to third parties, being like, hey, we're making this game. We need 5 people to submit bids. Whoever gives us the best demo, you got the job. I mean, why not? I mean, just give them like 10 million or 20 million and call it a day.
Yep. That's a good point. Good point.
Oh, yeah, it drives me up the wall. I wish that they took advantage. And I think that's why so many of us are playing emulators now, right? It's just, I want that experience. And the only way I tried to pay for it.
Get it. Yeah.
You had my credit card info, but it's not there. So
like Nintendo, I give Nintendo flack for this. Like Nintendo had like the worst system in play for their old school games in general, and Sony has somewhat of a solution, but they don't have a solution, especially when you count PS3 in the situation here. And now you got PC, making it worlds easier. Like I was playing Metal Gear Solid 4. It's one of my favorite games of all time on PC, and I was like, dude, how the hell did these dudes make this work? But Sony can't make this work right now. This is a gem. Like it's so good. It's still good to this day.
But this is what I would do if I was in charge.
Yeah.
I would hire those guys that work on the emulator.
Yeah.
And just give them funding to get a working solution. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I'd be like, here's $200K a year. You're welcome. Tell us what you need. We'll give it to you.
There you go.
And enjoy your life. Keep making this amazing emulator for PS5 so we can run PS1.
And you just give them licenses and they'll throw them on there. That makes perfect sense personally. You basically pay for the engine and you're just funding them with licensing and whatnot and whatever they need, and that's it.
Well, they don't even need license. They just outright pay for the developers of the PS3 emulator and just have them on board for PlayStation, and that's what I would do, and just fund them whatever money that they need. Yeah. Make them have it where it's like having 60 FPS and all that, those like bells and whistles, and maybe upscaling resolution wise.
There you go. Yeah. John, what's your favorite type of game in general? What's your favorite?
That's a
like you're a horror fan, you're an action guy, a racer.
I would say number 1 is first-person shooters. Number
Okay.
2 is racers, and then 3 is platformers.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would actually kind of argue like Black Ops 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was kind of a racing game. The way that you had to move around, I was like, it's kind of like a platformer racing kind of FPS. Maybe that's why it's my favorite. So
Yeah.
fast moving, fast paced.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah, Call of Duty went through a lot of phases.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say for platformers though, especially in the AAA market, like there's barely any platformers. We'll be honest, a lot of the platformers are indie games.
Yeah.
That really like push that forward because like I guess like the latest, I guess you could say platformer, which a lot of people were kind of split about. I felt, I don't want to say split, like maybe 70% of people enjoyed it was Crash 4, but a lot of people love like the trilogy remake more. Oh, I forgot about that game. I forgot that was a thing.
That's that Sackboy, Little Big Planet spinoff. Sackboy.
Yeah,
For
Sackboy
PS5,
came out for near the PS5 launch.
Yeah. Oh, Astro Boy, or Astro's Playroom. That's a platformer,
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah.
It is.
I think that was really good. And
really good.
Ratchet is like kind of holding the whole genre together at the moment.
Yeah, that's the only one that comes to mind.
Yeah, they got a monopoly.
Mm,
Well, you don't like Lucky's Tale?
Oh my gosh, look.
this guy.
Wow, it's a
Forgot about
platform.
that. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about Lucky's too.
That was an Xbox One, right?
Yeah. When's 3 coming out? Forgot about that.
Look at that, another
Cuphead
one.
just launched DLC
Cuphead 3.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cuphead.
DLC.
That's really good. That like I said, they're like Cuphead is the one like Ori. All those games are like super memorable.
Yeah, but why are they
Indie games.
memorable? Yeah, they're tough. They're tough games, but the art style draws you into Cuphead. The art style draws you into Ori. You know, for different reasons.
There you go.
Good appeal. Yeah, especially Ori. Man, talk about like a painted game through and through.
So,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this. I know obviously the gen just started. We already seen some great examples of the PS5 and Series X, what we can get. How excited? 'Cause you mentioned power earlier. You say, you know, you kind of wish that these consoles didn't have this much power. How excited should gamers be for the PS5 and Series X as we progress throughout this? Because, I mean, let's face it, John, we got some other gems. You even told me on Twitter, you know, Sony's got some crazy games that we don't know what's going to happen, but one in particular, Wolverine, is on the horizon. We got Wolverine, we got Spider-Man 2. I mean,
First things first, John. We got to fix that whole borrowing a PS5. You got to fix that. You got to own that. I'm surprised. The guy. So who's nice enough to get? I don't know anybody that would give up a PS5 right now. I really
I
don't.
feel like he definitely gave.
You have a good friend.
I have a really good friend. Yeah, he lent it. I've had it for I'd say like 4 or 5 months now.
That's
And so
not even
I
lent to get that
suspect
point.
It's not a lent. It's just mine now at this point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, why should we be excited? I mean, geez, like the CPU is just so good in the new consoles. I think now we can get
It's
like
funny,
epic
yo. You know what's
moments.
funny? Not to cut you off, but you keep bringing up the CPU.
Yeah.
And that, like, it just goes to show you how much of a pain in the ass the CPUs were in these machines. You know what I mean? They were like
Yeah.
non-existent. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's just, you know, like that's. I'm so glad that they fixed that because that was always it can't run 6 FPS because you know.
Bottleneck.
So it's the bottleneck, right? So
Yeah,
I like because usually people bring up the first thing they want to bring up is power and GPU. You know, it's nice, it's refreshing to hear somebody actually praise a CPU for it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I kind of worried about PS4 when I saw the specs originally, because I had heard from the Hitman developer. I think it was just like a Twitter post or something, but they posted it and they're like, "Oh yeah, the game ran slower on PS4 than PS3," and they had a small concern that they made public. And I just think it's kind of crazy how the
We've gone past
economics.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like the economics of game consoles and like the price points they have to hit just kind of force Sony's hand to say like, well, you can have better graphics next generation or better physics, and they chose, I'd say, better graphics and offloaded things to their graphics core,
Frame
like
rate.
physics, frame rate. Yeah.
Frame rate was a big thing.
That kind of makes you question the PS6, right? Like I know I don't think games can look any better personally than what we get now.
Oh, they can.
I mean, they can.
They
but
definitely can.
Big
I just feel
when
like
you
we're
play a
constantly
multiplat
here.
on
Yeah.
like listen, when I play Sniper Elite 5 on PS5, it looks really good. But then you go to PC and you max everything out and you're like, okay, like you can see there's improvements to be had.
Of course. Yeah, better. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Better textures and whatnot. Absolutely. But
But like I feel like people say this all the time. Like back when PS4 hit and PS3 is like, oh, these graphics can't get any better, and then
That's
PS4
true.
happened,
That's
and then it's like, oh, these graphics like. It's
spoiled.
always in the
Detroit
early
become human.
generation where it's just
Red Hood,
like,
you're right.
oh,
But the
John,
problem
remember
is
that?
from
Detroit Become Human.
PS3.
That game spoiled us. There you go.
Right.
In terms of
That
visuals.
that game looked incredible.
Yeah,
But from PS2 to PS3 was a huge jump. HD era,
Yeah.
all that, right?
HD,
And then
yeah.
from PS3, people are like, oh, dude, that PS3 to PS4 is a huge jump. Go back and play some PS3 games. They're tearing constantly. I notice, and the resolution, the frame rate, and then PS4 to PS5,
PS4, it looked like
they
the games
jumped.
were relaxed. You know what I mean? Like they had breathing room, especially with Killzone, Shadowfall. When we first saw the gameplay, which still looks incredible to this day. The first
Killzone
video.
Shadowfall, again, that's a game that fell to the tech demo, to the launch game, and rushed out for a launch game to show, wow, look what the PS4 can do, and it honestly ended up killing Killzone because of it, because it was a rush. It looked beautiful. The shooting, the multiplayer was cool, but just a forgettable story.
It
Yeah.
ended really abruptly.
It
really
did.
abrupt. Yeah.
But like I said, Guerrilla Games could do it. Like this Guerrilla Games, they're like I feel like they could make a really interesting first-person shooter. Going back to that, now that they're seasoned, they have their new engine. I feel like they could conquer that and do a really good job. So.
Yeah, I got faith in them. If they revisit Killzone, they're gonna knock it out of the park, especially on this hardware.
Two looks. People go back and look at 2. If you can't play 2, just go look at some videos. The lighting, the when you're shooting an enemy, like he's literally absorbing bullets and just reacting to every single shell. Like it's just that game, man. Killzone 2 out of all of them.
What do they do? Like a remake of 2? I mean,
remake.
Like, cause Sony, was really been pushing the remake scene. Last of Us 1's got the remake. We saw that's dropping in September.
I'd be worried about it though, because would they
for
skimp
Last
out
of Us?
on the animations? Would they, because that was like a unique engine they were using on Killzone 2. Like I feel like they,
I mean,
I'd
it
be
would have to
nervous.
be like remade from the ground up, like
Right.
everything.
Ground
Give
up.
it to Blue Point. Blue Point could do it, man.
Oh yeah, Blue Point definitely.
Yeah,
earned
I don't
it.
know if they'll ever do a remake. I mean, because they're doing that new IP, so it's like
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, typically a lot of the teams at Sony are split, right? So they might be able to. Pull
Well,
something
I don't
out.
know. Like honestly, like the only like big team that's working on multiple projects is like it seems like Insomniac that pumps it out in a timely manner.
I'm looking up something.
Might
When
be.
did Sony buy Guerrilla? Let's see. 2005. Oh yeah, so they bought them right before Killzone 2. I was just trying to wonder, like, what? I really wish I knew how Sony worked in terms of approving projects, like what gets approved, suggested.
No.
I mean, we'll never know. It's just kind of sad.
I think it's just
I
the
hope
fun
that-
factor. You know what I mean? If it has that fun factor, they'll approve it. You know what I mean? They like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because one thing Sony's always been really good for, so I love about them, is that they love to push variety. You know what I mean? It's not really the same. You know what I mean? It's not like, we want shooters, we want racers, we want this. No, it's pretty
Sure
much
about that, Big
anything
Cloud?
that's good. They push everything.
You sure about that?
It's a lot of
Have you seen
creativity.
the Forest GIF?
Oh boy.
It's like, what game
No,
are
but-
you in?
Right, but Sony's first party games, people say they're similar. Third over the shoulder, third person.
Well,
that's the one
template in
criticize
their-
they do to Sony. They say they have
That's
the
their
same third
template
person.
for their over the top AAA.
Yes and no. Like I agree and
still.
disagree at the same time.
I
It's like,
disagree, but-
like Uncharted does not play like Horizon. God of
They
War
don't.
does not play like Days Gone. Days Gone does not play like Last of Us.
Yep.
And it's just because of the camera angle. It's like
Let's
literally
be honest. There's only 2 camera angles you can do, first or third.
Right.
First or third.
Dude,
so.
I've said that 1,000 times. Like, what do you? It's either top down, first, or third. Which one is it? Pick one.
No.
These people are ridiculous, man.
Good point.
And then, of course, we got first person for a game that should have never had first person. That was Cyberpunk. Should have been third person from the get-go.
Should have been third.
Well, now you're saying that for CD Projekt Red, they're not ever using their own engine anymore. They're just going Unreal.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And look, it's cool and as impressive as Unreal, and I understand there's benefits for using an engine like Unreal, because if they need help and they need to bring people in, they know you're familiar with Unreal. Yeah, all right. Can you help us out with these? So I understand that part of it, but the uniqueness of a Witcher running on that Red engine, like, it was just unique. Like, I love developers that use their own engine. Like, it's like, I just love that shit. I love Crytek. I love CryEngine. I love, Rebellion got this engine that's so beautiful, people. Like, I keep bringing up this Sniper. Like, I don't know what proprietary engine that is, but I like that, Yeah,
Red Dead has their own engine that they've updated multiple times, which is the same engine, I think, from even Max Payne 3, if I recall.
This kind of reminds me of what's happened to Pixar movies. Remember, Finding Nemo? How good that looked? That was all custom shaders, custom materials that were not physically accurate by any means. They just look good. And for Finding Nemo 2, they went with physically based rendering, physical materials. They followed the rules of nature, and it looks kind of like flat, like not so happy. And so, there's something to say about, like, sometimes it pays off to go through the pain of custom materials or custom engine. I mean, when it's multi-purpose, it works fast. You can hire people, but you're also going to look a lot like the other Unity games. That's my concern, at least for my game. So one thing that we did to counteract that was make our own materials, and not just like whatever program we're using to like make the materials. Once they're in the engine has its own interpretation of shaders. So we make our own shaders that are closer to
that's
like
cool.
Yeah, so whatever we've been doing in architecture construction, I've been trying to replicate that way of working in Unity. And so it's familiar to us, but the benefit is the game does look a little bit different than other Unity games, I think. So small benefits here and there.
And I see people in the comments saying, Unreal Engine 5 is, they're having a hard time getting it above 30 FPS. I understand, that Matrix demo, but trust me, the more and more and more they get familiar with this engine,
they'll be able to tweak it and get more out of it.
More out of it.
I think Fortnite is the first Unreal Engine 5 game.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
So you can turn a lot of things off. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Ghost?
No, blur that.
No, you had a visitor.
All right. I guess I'm a loudspeaker. Uh-oh. I had the window open.
Well,
Oh yeah, but Unreal Engine, I think it'll get better. It can run Fortnite on a phone, so I don't think that's the issue.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. In Unity, at least, you have a choice. You can use Universal Render Pipeline or High Definition Render Pipeline for like high-end consoles, and we chose Universal because my buddy Richard said, "You know what? At the end of the day, do you want frame rate or do you want a pretty picture?" And I was like, "Oh, I want frame rate." He's like, "Just go with Universal, man. You can always make it look a little bit better, and you won't have to worry." Because the 30 FPS concern, I saw that from the Coalition when they first tried Unreal Engine 5. It's like, the frame rate, they couldn't quite get what they expected, and so there was some work needed. But there's a lot going under the hood. Like, it's ray tracing at like all times for Unreal Engine, and they're building up proxy geometry of everything in the world. So like, imagine me, but then like blur me out, and that's like the proxy version of me that's going to be reflected. So there's like duplicates of a lot of things.
Dude, the Coalition, first of all, like Gears, what was the last one? 5?
Gears 5,
yeah. That game is like,
it's good.
I remember saying, "Wow, this is some of the best looking shit I've ever seen." Like, Gears 5 is a pretty game, so I'm sure that's that game's gonna look really good, and if they can get it to run at 60, which I'm sure they will.
Yeah, they're
You know,
gods.
games are
They'll do it.
scalable, man. Yeah, games are scalable, man.
Very,
The
very,
Witcher's
very
running
scalable.
on the Switch, dude. Come on.
Yeah, I mean they had to make the settings way lower than the PC
Super
low.
low.
Hey.
I would have just rebuilt the game. I was
Exactly.
never mind. Just redo
Like,
it.
wouldn't
and the
even
thing
attempt.
is, it's like the PC settings for like low, it's like way lower, and it's not even a stable 30.
Yeah. Did it even sell well on the Switch? Did it sell
don't,
well? I
I don't know actually. I don't think.
I just
I can't say.
they showed it off, and then that was it. That's all I remember about it.
Yeah, all I can say is I play Witcher 3 on my Steam Deck, 60 FPS, way better settings than the Switch version.
We're just waiting for Switch Pro at this point. Switch 2.
I think it's Switch 2. I don't think there'll be a Pro. I think it's Switch 2. I mean, they would be dumb if they didn't make their games backwards compatible. But then yet again, Nintendo always like puts a foot forward and does 2 steps back at the same time.
I don't think that they'll do backwards compatibility as a concern either. I think it'll be who can give us the right price on the right hardware so that we can hit $299. I think that's their...
Because that's would be bad because it's like you have all the other ecosystems, right? Like Steam, like you got your own PC as well as the Steam Deck, PlayStation 4 going to PlayStation 5, Xbox One going to Series, and games are backwards compatible. If the Switch were just like, yeah, Switch 2 we have, but it's not going to be backwards compatible with Switch 1, I would be like, yo, that would be insane. But I feel like Nintendo could do that, and the fan base would still rebuy the games, and they'll say, yeah, we're going to have this at 1080p or 1440p
Right.
and 60, and then they'll just rebuy it.
Yep. And it'll either be like an ARM NVIDIA or an ARM Radeon. And so Unity will work on it, Unreal will work on it. I don't think it'll be too big for developers, unless you're first party maybe, but they'll figure it out. We'll get Mario Kart 8 version 3, version 4.
Yeah. Version 29. I'll say that much.
Oh man, it's turning into like Grand Theft Auto at this point.
Yeah, Ben did that. So many different iterations of it. What's your most anticipated game for this year?
God of War Ragnarok. I
I
hope it comes out. Yes, please.
All
I mean,
right.
I trust in Corey, man. He trained with the Mad Max director.
What would be the like other two then? Like,
Oh, I got to dig deep.
Because like Hogwarts Legacy may come out. That's supposed to be a holiday.
Yep. Hogwarts Legacy, Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, the Dead Space original director.
Yeah. What else is dropping this year? There's a lot of games. Last
I'm
of Us
searching
remake.
the name.
Pokemon, Call of Duty.
Cocoon. I actually want to play Cocoon. It was on the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase.
Okay.
I'll send you the link real quick if you want to broadcast it.
You right for Starfield?
So that comes out next year.
Like he's grunting. He's like, no.
Not yet. They got to fix some things. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Oh, see, people, they ain't me. They ain't me. It's everybody. There's a problem with that game.
There's got to be a reason that they didn't show you entering a building. You're walking outside, and then you're inside. And to me, that's kind of like a small orange flag.
Yep.
Like, that's all.
It's just weird that also like when it comes to like there was a glitch already that someone pointed out, like one of the NPCs like heads was like backwards when they were walking or whatever, and it was just like
boy. Yeah.
And it was weird because it's like, oh, it's Bugthesda. It's like it's fine. It's like I don't think that's a reason, because it's like I feel like a lot of developers pride themselves on like quality control and all that.
Yeah.
And like them saying, hey, it's fine, they're known for it. I'm just like, I don't feel like that's an excuse.
Work in progress, guys.
Right. I don't work at Bethesda. I don't know anyone that works at Bethesda. I don't speak for Bethesda, but I actually kind of worry for people that work at Bethesda, because man, if that's the engine you have to work with, I'm sorry. Like I can see what they're trying to do, but yeah, you're talking about like the heads are backward. Like that's an engine problem. That is not a developer issue technically. Like whoever did the art is like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah, character models were janky. Everything's just popping in, bullets.
They might want to go use Unity then, huh?
Dude, they should. I mean, even the smoke coming off the ship, I don't think there were any physics. It just had like a direction. Like there was no
straight down. Yeah, it didn't waft with the air. You know what I mean? Like it didn't. Yeah.
I feel like it's also a Todd decision because it's like his studio technically, so it's like that's why he's familiar with it. It doesn't matter if like the engine is so old and they literally put duct tape.
They don't
like hoping
Band-Aid. You mean?
Maybe not Band-Aid. Yeah, you're right.
You need duct tape.
More type of that analogy.
Dude, they will not let go of that engine, man. I think they've worked with that engine for so long. They're so familiar with it, and it's like
they just accept
it's got that unique Fallout Skyrim look. You know, everybody dead in the face. You know, but you know their eyes, like the eyes. Dude, I like Fallout games. Yeah, I like Fallout games.
Horizon had that issue back in
the first one.
The first game, but they don't have that issue with the second one.
Yeah, now they have cinematic shots with their faces.
Yeah, you just have to add lights that are reflected in the eyes only. It's not that hard. I mean, I did it for my cinematics even. I had lights just for the bare eyes. You have to do it, actually. Otherwise, they're just like...
Yeah, dead eyes. Oh, man.
It's fixable. Yeah. Well, you know, fingers crossed for that game.
Dude, I want a demo of that. If you can, send it. Please, I want to play it. I want to play MotorStorm. Dude, I'm not going to critique you. I understand things are not ready.
They're not ready. But hey, you get to try out the two-player respawn glitch. Let's see if you run into that. That's what I'm supposed to fix on Sunday.
So is it? So it's multiplayer and single player, or is it?
It has split screen multiplayer. You all race against each other, so it's not just you versus somebody. It's both of you against the entire pack, and it's split screen vertical. And yeah,
but no multiplayer online.
No online. I just didn't want to risk it.
Dude, you gotta
first
add that.
tryout.
They gotta
post launch.
If
money starts coming in, absolutely. I want lobbies, and I want it. I can't say dedicated because that probably costs a lot of money.
But you can definitely see more life in the game with multiplayer, and you know, you can have like customization options.
I'm telling you, because we get in Discord and we'll party. We'll play like golf with friends. We'll play party games. We'll play Forza. You know, that's huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully you do rack in a few bucks to, you know. But then you're gonna want to use that to either fix, you know, add to the game or bring it to the next game. So.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk to the programmer and ask him like how much is allocated, if he has experience, if he needs to bring in someone who's knowledgeable in multiplayer and they can do it together. I'm sure it won't cost that much.
Yeah.
I guess it's just worrying about the network. Like if you're on PlayStation Network, how much does that entail, like work-wise and maintenance-wise? Because like Sony will update the development kit, and so you have to make sure you're on the right version. Sometimes for like Unity, so it's like, okay, we'd have to update Unity, we'd have to update the development kit, and does anything break? And not revealing anything, not breaking NDAs, but if you've ever used software, sometimes things that worked in 19 didn't work in 18, or vice versa. Yes. So, well, I'll ask him. I'll be realistic, but I would like to bring multiplayer to it and not like charge people for it. I would just like to say like, hey guys, Merry Christmas. It's online. I'll see you there.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
For real, you need that. I think that would be, even if you do just four players or something like that. Or...
the whole field, it's got to be 16 to 20. Right now we have like up to 20 racers on at once. I've pushed to, I did a test at 36 and it was too crazy. So I can see why MotorStorm never had that many racers at once. But I mean, why not give people the option? Just go nuts, and if they have fun, they have fun. I don't care.
There you go. Okay. My last question for you, John. How excited are you that you've worked with PlayStation, and how would you describe your experience working with them?
It's only been a week, and they've been amazing, professional, and that's actually all I can say about it technically because it's an NDA. But there we go. That's my review. I like
you
it. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. Good
There
people.
you go. There you go, people. There you go. Well, that's it for me. All my questions for Mr. John here. I did have like one gaming news topic. I mean, that's literally all that happened this week.
Yeah.
Is that there was an update on God of War. Not really Corey Barlog. It was from Bloomberg. They pretty much announced, or pretty much stated, courtesy of Jason Schreier, that God of War Ragnarok is indeed on track and is pushing for November. So there you guys
And it's supposed to be
go.
big.
It's going to be a huge game. It's going to be pushing
So,
for
like,
November.
the rumor going around, which I don't know if that's true, it's supposed to be 40 hours around there, give or take. Which, I'm not going to lie, it starts to make sense because they have to... This is, like, the last title to close the whole, like... because
Norse-
it's not
the
a
Norse.
trilogy, right?
Yeah.
So it's, like, the Norse mythology.
The Norse
because they would
mythology
have...
is
The Greek games... for the OG trilogy was 3, not count, the PSP versions of those as well. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it probably would have been shorter if it was just 3, games in the
They could have
trilogy.
did DLC though. People thought it might have came with the with those. What do you call it?
Yeah, which on top of that too.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but like, and then it's like, what else? And Corey even admitted, like, someone's like, "Oh, game's delayed." He's like, "No, it's not." He even confirmed it's not delayed. So, like I said, like a lot of people were wondering, "Oh, the game's delayed, this and that." It's like, no, it just seems when we got the leak, it was going to be the 30th.
Yeah.
But I guess people's expectations were different because people were thinking a trailer and a state of play. And that probably changed Sony's plans because from what we heard from Tom Henderson was it was just going to be the release date with the collector's edition and all that. Like the 2 and the Jotun edition as well.
Oh, it's going to be a PS5 God of War edition.
You think so?
100%.
Might be too early for the.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
Garrett, you want to
No,
make a bet? There's a PS5 version of God of War. You want to make a bet?
So you think it's gonna be the same style as last one, like a silver?
I'm putting down $20.
PS5?
Yeah, I
20
think you're
bucks?
right. Yeah, I'll put it down. $20. They'll
How
do
is it too early? Big Cloud, is it too early when Halo Infinite had a Series X
Yeah, after a year.
special edition?
I
It's
mean,
not
well,
too
that was
early.
kind of a little different.
It's 2
though.
years
that,
now.
That was kind of like their premiere game for their console. It was kind of they were trying to.
That was their only
replicate-
game for their console.
I know, but they were trying to do a 360.
So,
Halo
but
3
but
situation with
God
that.
of War is a premiere
It
game
is.
for
It is.
PlayStation.
It
Yeah, their
is.
biggest, right?
Yeah.
I would say more
Yeah.
than even Uncharted. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, this is their
absolutely,
biggest
absolutely.
game they got right now.
Yeah, and then I'll say this too. Like next year, another probably custom console for Spider-Man. Too.
Oh, absolutely. Spider-Man's gonna get a black console for sure. I think
Yeah,
that'll
for
be
the black
return.
symbiote.
Yeah, I
Or
guarantee
you
that
can
will
get
be one.
D-brand black plates right now for your PS5.
Yeah, and you know what?
I got.
I'm
clear
glad you
ones
brought that
online.
up because
Yeah.
I worry they're gonna just say God of War Special Edition plates instead of an actual console. That's what I'm worried about.
Oh,
Because you can
Maybe.
just they can just sell 2 plates with the deluxe edition of God of War for $100 and voila.
That could work if they're like really dope and they're like, you know what I mean? Like there's something really cool that you can't get.
But
But
I
they're
just
not
know
limited.
Sony.
They're not limited.
No, they can be
though.
limited if they couldn't be.
I
if they're done
mean-
right.
I mean,
They
they want to
can
make
make it
money.
limited.
Not
Yeah.
limited.
Yeah,
They'll make
but
$1 million.
still.
I
I
would.
feel like
It's
it's
just
really cheap to
frustrating.
make those plates, though. I don't know.
Yeah, they'd have to be like plated, like cut, like colored,
Yeah.
different materials.
It can't be
different
lazy.
sculpts. No,
Has to be like
Otherwise, we'll
laser
call
etched,
them
you know,
out.
like Microsoft does it with like the grids and everything on their consoles, those custom stuff.
Mike, look at Sony's
the
not
custom
going to
sound
change the
effects.
little black strip in the middle of the PS5. They're not. I just feel like
No.
they're going to be really
You're
lazy about it, like they always are. But whatever. Hopefully, I'm wrong.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
the
Um,
PS4 Pro. That one was like the God of War version of PS4 Pro. That was etched all the way through, right?
I don't think so.
Was it?
No, I don't
this is a-
think.
Or it's
I
just the
have it
top?
over there, but yeah.
Yeah, it might just be the top of it.
It was
It was like
It's-
on.
It was just like the axe on top of it. Like
Yeah,
I felt
most
like
of
it was
the
kind of
axe.
slapped on.
yeah, it was
Yeah, I felt like it was kind of
Oh.
slapped on there.
yeah, it was. It felt like I don't know. It was really it was cool. I'm not complaining, but they could do better.
I see what you mean. Like it could have been sculpted a little bit more. Like have them embedded so you can feel it, like the raised surfaces of the symbols, something like just a little
Xbox.
extra.
Yeah.
Xbox, the Gears of War one has like the cracked ice, like you can literally feel the grooves in the console. So.
And I also feel like PlayStation, like they do make good additions, but it's mainly pertaining to like the Japanese market.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually happens. Yeah,
and
Yeah,
which
they
I
get
just
all
don't
the cooler
understand it.
colors. Everything. That's true.
It's their home turf.
That's true. Metal Gear Solid, yeah, I remember that one, the red console, that one with the arms. It was like a 5.
Oh yeah, you're talking
Right
about the
out.
Phantom Pain.
The Phantom Pain
For the
edition. It was like the red
PS4.
arm. Yeah, that one was.
that was a
one
nice one.
decent-
The Batman one was nice.
Yep.
PS4.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we had.
Good
I don't know. I
conversations, man.
kind of want the. You remember the 500 mil edition, the blue translucent console.
No.
If
Yeah.
it had to be more of a tradition, we see more of that translucent plates or translucent consoles. That just looks cooler to me.
Looks awesome.
To me.
Yeah, that's the inside of a Series X. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was going to transition this into the developers getting harassed, but we kind of talked about that in the beginning. We kind of just destroyed it. Like
No, we definitely did.
So
I felt like
no point
the
for that.
points were
Don't be a
made.
dick.
Yeah, no real point there. But
Don't feed the trolls. You know what to do. Yeah.
there you go. Guys, seriously, leave the developers alone. Let them make the game. When the game is ready, we'll know. That's all I can really say. As far as God of War is concerned, November, it seems like that is where it is. And as far as when this state of play is going to be, I don't know. It could be September.
Whatever they want.
You know,
It could
whenever-
honestly, it could be July, it could be August in
Yeah.
reality.
Exactly. So whenever it happens, and we'll get it. But that's pretty much it. This was an awesome show, man. I want to say really seriously, thank you to John here for coming through. It was awesome having you on and hearing your history as well as your update on your game that you're working on and just your experience with Sony so far. I want to thank you very, very much for that. And please, why don't you tell the people where they can find you? And
Sure.
on a scale of 1 to 10, can we possibly see you again down the road?
Oh man, I'll give it an 11. I love coming on here. Yeah, you guys are fun. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
So you can check out the game at DraiseyDigital.com. That's our company name, so you can see the game a little bit there. You can check me out on Twitter at John Draisey. And yeah, I'll hit you up. I'll talk. I'll let you know what's going on.
There you go. For those of you that want even more info on this, I'll have everything in the description below, as well as the article that I'm going to write on this as soon as this show's over. So timestamps will be uploaded a little later, and this will be on lordsofgaming.net. Shout out to Hunter. He couldn't make it, but he'll be here on the next show. Again, John, thank you very, very much for sharing everything about your game and everything. It was a blast talking to you. Really, really was.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. It was an honor. Loved it. I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
Good easy, brother.
Let's get to these outros. Let's go ahead and start with Red Hood. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, Twitter at RedHood240, YouTube RedHood420, and then of course Twitch at RedHood420. So yeah, I've been streaming stuff. Final Fantasy VII, closing that
Yawn.
out, and what?
None. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's my
Final
thought.
Fantasy, yeah. If I want to fall asleep, I'll come back.
Oh my gosh! See, the hate on a beloved franchise. You hate to see it. But it's expected by these two. That's all I gotta say. The fan base already
Hey,
knows.
listen, man. Anything Final Fantasy.
And you know what's crazy is Big Cloud does this, and he puts it on his list on IGN.
You asked me.
I
to.
know.
You
No,
asked
I
me
never
to.
asked you
me
to. You
asked me
literally
to.
said
So,
what
all right,
game.
So John, IGN
At
hit
least,
me up.
at least I
Oh,
can give
hold
Blaze kudos because he always sticks to it. He doesn't care for a lot of those games, but Big Cloud puts it on his list. It's insane to me.
So,
But no,
so IGN
make sure to
hits me up
come.
and goes, "Hey, Big Cloud, would you make a playlist for us for content creators? We're featuring content creators. Like,
Content
yeah, sure,
creators, yeah.
I love to. So hey, yeah, would you make a list for us? I'm like, okay, I made a list. And here comes Red Hood. Oh, you got
No. You literally called me when I was on my way to work,
got
and I
proof of
said,
this?
"What do you want from me?" Literally,
You
I
got
said
proof? You got
that.
proof?
What do you want from
You got
me?
proof?
And you're like, "What?" Well, I wanted to
don't
see
sound like proof, Chief.
about your list, about this list of games. Like, what type of games would be good on this list? I was like,
It's
"Oh,
not
so
Big
you want to
Cloud's
know
list,
about
right?
Japanese?" No, dude, even Nev called him out. He's
Big
like,
Cloud,
"Huh?"
you gotta make your list.
I
I don't
made my
cater
list.
to other people.
I
If
made
I don't
my
like
list.
a game, it's not going on my list.
I made my list. My list was fire. Thank you very much.
But like I said, just check out the stream. It's been popping a lot
Alright.
lately. So Red Hood 420 on Twitch.
Red Hood. All right.
There you go. And of course, Blaze 4K.
Yeah, you guys know where to find me, man. Just make sure you guys follow these guys and check out my guy John. Give him a follow.
Absolutely.
Yep, true.
Absolutely. We will see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys so much for coming through, and you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's gonna be a good weekend. We got UFC and we got some pay-per-views to look forward to. So yeah, look forward to that.
Stranger Things.
There
It's
you
out
go.
right now.
That came out today, as
I'm
well
about
as
to
the
watch it.
boys. The boys came out.
Boys.
today.
Yeah, the
So-
final episode. Is that the final episode
No,
this season?
it's the second last episode.
Second
Next
last
week's the
episode.
final.
Okay. Well, there you guys go. Enjoy your games, enjoy your hobby, and y'all be blessed, y'all be easy. John, once again, thank you. We'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all be out of here.